Hi guys, Jack Rogers here. Welcome to another creative review session where you guys can submit your creatives for direct and personalized feedback. Now, if you are after a review of your creative, simply just pop a click on the link in the description, fill out the very quick jot form, literally ask 2 questions, submit them, and then we can go off and review. So, let's jump into the first one. So my first initial feedback across the board from these creatives are, I really like them. I like the bright colors. I like the product images. They're very clear. They're very high quality. There's a couple of things that I would personally be looking to do on these. And then I also want to have a chat about some other things that I would be testing. So first point of call for me is around the CTA. I think, can we sell the click more here? So once they click that link, what's going to happen? Do we have some form of offer on the website? So rather than just shop now, can we say shop now for 10 to 20% off? As an example, with Facebook ads, the main goal is to get the click, right? So if we can incentivize that click as much as we can, we are going to see a net positive on the number of landing page views we have, which in turn is going to result in more purchases. So sell the click here. Now, I also think that our logo is just taking up too much digital real estate here. So what I would personally be looking to do is to cut down on the size of the logo, just shrink it down a little bit. And then I also think that can we potentially have a look at introducing some form of review screenshot from either Trustpilot or Google reviews. And what that's going to do right above the logo is just improve authority and build trust for anybody that sees this ad. Now, I think the big thing for me is all of these creatives are very well designed, but they are all very, very similar, right? Essentially, the only difference is a slightly different product image. So what I would like to see is more creative differentiation. And what I mean by that is experimenting with some slightly different styles. So what I would be looking at is, can we have some UGC content where before we get into that, UGC content, if you're not familiarized with it, is user-generated content, where you get an external third party to record a video for you, reviewing and trying out your products. I also think here, we can have a look at potentially utilizing an us versus them style of creative. Now, you are in a very competitive landscape, right? And as soon as somebody sees your product, they are instantly going to be comparing you to a product that they either own or they're actively looking at. So if you can have an us versus them style of creative, where on the one side you talk about the drawbacks of the market, you don't want to directly call out a competitor here, but just summarize them as a whole. So as you can see here, they've just said normal retail shirt, and there you can explain the drawbacks of buying that product. And then on the other side of the creative, you talk about your USPs, your unique selling propositions. And this is a really good type of creative when you're in those competitive spaces, because it allows your audience to quickly understand and quickly digest your unique selling propositions, which is going to drive conversions. Now, the next one that I would personally be looking at is a features point out one. And this is as simple as having your product in the middle of the creative and you have some text overlay on it where you articulate all of the benefits. So benefits, for example, might be for a shoe, it might be comfy fitting. Maybe you do like a lifetime guarantee. Maybe you have some other form of guarantee. But look, as we can see here, for this one, you've got odor control, moisture wicking, quick dry. So any USPs of that product, you can just add them as text overlay. So I hope all that makes sense. The big thing for me here is creative differentiation, get more styles in, test UGC, test videos, test some carousels, use us versus them, do benefits point out. So I hope all that makes sense. Any questions, any concerns, please let me know.